Hi, I'm Daryl, Project Manager for EnviroLink. Now, Evans Consoles has been working very hard on a replacement for the Johnson control unit for quite something that's even better. The EnviroLink is capable of heat, light, air, sound, and now lift as well, which is one more than JCU could ever support. So we're quite proud to introduce the EnviroLink console system. When you receive the package, there will be a number of items as per the list here. The package contents are the controller, also known as the ECM, Environmental Control Module, touchscreen, fan, there'll be 2, and miscellaneous cables. Let's look inside the boxes. When you receive the package, you'll have 5 boxes. The Environmental Control Module, the touchscreen, a pair of fans, and the miscellaneous cables box. Inside the biggest box is one of the most important parts. You may or may not have all of these components. They may have been installed for you. This is the adapter plate for dispatch and response. It may be installed. This is the 14 gauge AC cord, the main cord for the EnviroLink. And the EnviroLink unit itself may have already been installed for you, but if it's not, we're going to show you how. The next box is the touchscreen. That's your interface for the entire EnviroLink system, and this is the cable that provides power and data to it. 2 desktop fans, and 1 miscellaneous cables box containing cords. These are the DC power cords for light and fan, and if needed, the Linac lift control cable. For this stage, installing the ECM, it's actually going to be 180 degrees around. The ports will be facing the back, and you'll be using 4 of these 1032 machine screws to mount it up into the adapter plate. So here's the adapter plate. It's designed for response and dispatch. Now, in the case of response, a pair of these PEM studs may line up, but there may not be holes on the other end to catch the other holes. You may have to use this adapter plate as a template and mark your positions, then move the template and drill out those spots to accept the next 2 screws. So in the middle module, the ECM will attach right up here, roughly center. It doesn't matter if it's a couple of inches to the left or to the right, as long as it's on the adapter plate. So the adapter plate may have been installed already for you. We're inside the middle module of a response unit, and you can see that there's 4 1032s that have been put in place from the other side. So many of you are familiar with concept task lamps. There's the Z-bar and the MOSO. This is the latter, MOSO or shovel head. Either one, if it's EnviroLink compatible, will have this little micro switch up here. By default, it's on internal, and we want to move it to external dimmer control. So now the EnviroLink can control how bright the light is. So the concept lights have a 12-volt connector, which goes through the slat wall's brush grommet, and will be met on the other side by one of these. This is an extension and double-headed, so you can actually put 2 of the concept lights in, or 1, doesn't matter, and this will feed down the E-chain into the EnviroLink. So we have the extension splitter part that I was talking about earlier. We can feed that up into the back and connect 1 or 2 lights, and then feed this down through the E-chain and into the EnviroLink. So some people prefer to feed this alongside the E-chain and then snap it in. And then we'll pull it down from the other side. After feeding the splitter extension down the E-chain, pass it through to the next module, reach up behind and plug into the 36-watt lighting port. So for the two provided fans, we're going to do pretty much the same thing. Feed the 12-volt lines through the slat wall, and on the other side you'll have one more of these splitter extensions to take it down the E-chain and into the EnviroLink. We'll take the end of the splitter extension cord and plug in the fans into the 18-volt DC port. The touchscreen has an Ethernet port on the back which provides power and data connectivity through the shielded Ethernet cable. Take the gray cable and pass it through your grommet and down the E-chain as before. The gray shielded Ethernet cord from the touchscreen goes into the display port. Earlier we mentioned that the EnviroLink can control a heater, either radiant or blower type. This is the latter, and we'll show you where to plug it into the EnviroLink. Notice that the 200-watt auxiliary port is covered by a safety cover. That's just so that we don't plug the heater into the wrong port. The most common peripheral is a heater, and we want that to go into the 1150-watt heater port. If the customer does have an auxiliary load that they want to plug in, such as a light fixture, they can take this off and plug it in, and then control it from the auxiliary touchscreen button. If you have what's called a 10-volt controlled light, you'll need one of these adapter cables that goes into the expansion port. One end plugs into here, and the other end is going to plug into the electronic ballast for the fluorescent or LED device. This is a close-up of the Linac controller. You will have your lifts plugged into 1 and 2 and another control cable for the puck in 1. This is the extra Ethernet cable that's going to plug into the EnviroLink system to give you additional lift control from the touchscreen. The other end of the Linac lift Ethernet cable goes into the lift port. This is the provided 14-gauge AC cable. One end goes into the EnviroLink, the other end goes into your PowerLink or standard wall receptacle. Make sure you only use the 14-gauge cable provided by Evans. The EnviroLink system is really quite intuitive. It's a touchscreen that allows you to enable whichever environmental feature you like. Top left we have heater, then fan, there's lighting, auxiliary, sound, and in the bottom right corner you'll notice that there's this green lift symbol. Now if that's not there, that means that the lift cable has not been plugged in. It's just connected on one end or the other. When you're inside of a screen, you can hit this return symbol to go back to the home page, and hitting the moon symbol puts it to sleep. This is the low energy mode. To wake up the EnviroLink, touch anywhere on the logo and return to the home screen. Going into the heater, we can turn the heat up to 100% and down again in degrees of 10. This will turn the heater on or off for a certain amount of time. Fans are controlled similarly by touching up. We can control the amount of air flowing out of the fans. Lighting. 10 volt or 12 volt. 10 volt is the control that we were talking about earlier. It's used by Trillium, Cree, and others that have electronic ballasts. The 12 volt is your concept lights like Mosso, Z-Bar, any of those special 12 volt lights. This is where we can control them from. And down again in steps of 10%. Over here we have the auxiliary port. If we had anything plugged into it like an external light fixture or something, we can turn it on or off. Sound. This is only going to be heard if you have external powered speakers plugged into the ENVIROLINC system. That's the port on the far right of the back of the ECM. We do have a white noise generator that can be chosen. That's the button on the left. If you turn around on the back, there's an audio input, which can be controlled by selecting audio and increasing the sound volume here. And that will play through the powered speakers. The LINAC lift control is the green button in the bottom right corner. When activated, you can choose between front or rears lift columns if you have both, and they can press and hold to lift or lower, just like the puck. You can use either control. They do the same thing. Another great feature of the LINAC lift control on the ENVIROLINC is on-screen error detection. If you hit the info button, it'll give you more information about what's wrong. In this case, we have channel 1's cable is disconnected. Let's reconnect it and then lower the console to reset the error. Notice that we can only lower and not raise. Remember, during error 1, no impact detection system will be working. Make sure nothing is in the way. And now we can resume up motion. Error is cleared. On the back of the touchscreen, there's two ports. One for audio in and another for USB. You can plug in any phone or tablet to receive a charge.